Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Let's have your lesson 2 today. We have already finished your lesson 1, so moving on is lesson 2, and it will focus on the locomotor and non-locomotor movements. In reality, this is a repetition of your past lessons in your PE. Am I right? During your elementary and high school, I'm sure that you already came across with this locomotor and non-locomotor movement. So what we're gonna be doing today is just to have a review of what are the locomotor and non-locomotor movements, what are the kinds of this locomotor and non-locomotor movements, types. Okay, and then of course also we're going to check up the basic concepts of movement, movement space and rhythm, and of course the factors that govern or affect movement. And the third is the element of space. So let's start off with the two kinds of movements, body movements, locomotor and non-locomotor. What's the difference between the two? Anyone? What's the difference between locomotor and non-locomotor movements? Janina.
Locomotor is a movement that can move in one place to another, while non-locomotor is arm movement, arm body movement that cannot
Movements.
movement that without travel, without
Without
any travel or
struggle.
movements.
No change of position. I mean, no change of direction also. Okay. So just as stated here in our lesson, the simple definition is when you're doing locomotor movements, you move, when you execute these movements, you are moving from one place to another in any direction with our feet as our pivot or our base. So any movement of the body which has a direction and you move from your original position to a distance to another direction, then that is locomotor. On the other hand, your non-locomotor movements, these are done or executed. And yes, you're still moving, but you move it on a fixed position. That's the simple definition. That's a simple delineation between locomotor and non-locomotor movements. So when I stand, that's non-locomotor because I'm just here and where I stand. When I shake my hands, I'm moving, yes, but I don't change position. Yun yung difference ng non-locomotor and locomotor. Dito sa locomotor, meron ng change of direction and change of merong distance na ito-travel yung katawan mo. Okay? So, with the locomotor, very basic, we have your, what is it? Walking, running, jumping, hopping, skipping, galloping, sliding, leaping. Ano ang difference ng hopping, skipping, galloping, and leaping? Excuse me. I'll be uploading some videos later on how these things are different from each other. But basing from the definition, when you jump, you take off on both feet and then land on both feet as well. When you hop on one foot and still land on the same foot from which you hopped with. Okay? Parang yung frog. Okay? Galloping is Ang difference niya sa hopping at saka skipping, hopping and skipping, paano sila magiging different? Para ding um, hopping ang skipping. The only difference is when you skip, wait, meron papa-add. It bounces with alternate steps. How is it different also with leaping? Yung leaping, when you leap, you hop with one foot and land on the other foot. For example, you hop on your right foot, you land on the floor with the other left foot. When you hop with the left foot, you land on the floor with the right foot. Nakuha yung difference? Kapag hop, same. Kung right lang. You take off on the right and you land on the right, with the right. Okay? Pag left naman, left at left lang ang gagamitin mo. Ganun yung difference ng leap and hop. Okay? Kapag naman yung skip, alternately naman ito. Step, hop, step, hop, step, hop, step, hop. So you step, then hop, step, then you hop. Ganun naman yung skip. Parang pag nag-i-skipping rope kayo, I know when some of you are fitness enthusiasts, you do the skipping rope as an exercise. It's a cardiovascular exercise. And yun yung mechanism ng pag-i-skip is, di ba, nag-step ka, then hop. Kasi kailangan mong mag-hop. Tama? Step, hop. Di ba, pag mag-i-skipping rope ka, ganon. Yun yung difference niya sa hopping and sa leaping. Nakuha. Nakikita nyo yung difference ng tatlo?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure? Again, sa hopping, ano ang mechanism niya?
Same foot.
Same foot. Spring on one foot, land on the same foot. Whether right or left. Sa leaping, paano siya naiiba sa hopping? How is it different with hopping?
Iba yung maglaland.
You spring on the right, land on the left, or the other way around, spring on the left,
Land on the
on
right.
the right. Correct. How about skipping? How is it different? It's, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, you step, then hop. Step, hop, step, hop. Parang yung, I don't know if you're aware of a famous classical step of the 80s. 80s ba yun or 90s? Yung Running Man na step. Alam niyo yung Running Man? Yun.
Yes,
Yun yung mechanism ng Running Man. Yun yung skipping. Mga kababayan ko. Yeah. Yun. Okay? Yun yung step na skipping. How about galloping? How is it different with hopping, leaping, and skipping? So it's a movement in continuous motion with a step followed by a quick close to the other foot. If you have seen a horse, when it runs, when it gallops, that's galloping. Mabilis. Diba, mabilis lang yung pagsunod ng isa pang paa. And you can follow that with your body, with your feet. That's galloping. Mabilis lang. So, for example, nag-step yung right mo, susundan agad ng left. Mabilis. Yun yung difference. Parang kabayo. Pag sinundan mo kung paano mag-run or mag-gallop ang horse, yun yung galloping. So, tigrig, mabilis lang siya. Yun yung pagkakaiba ng hopping, skipping, leaping, galloping. Everything clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's move on to yung naiiba, yung sliding. Pag sliding naman, you drag either of your feet to the floor. When you drag, i-move mo siya, parang nagdo-drawing yung paa mo sa floor. Either your left towards your right, or your right towards your left, or palabas, or paharap, palikod. Basta parang nagdo-drag yung foot mo. Yun yung sliding movement. Why is it under locomotor? Still you move. There is a change of position. There's a change of direction. Kasi merong travel yung katawan mo. Alright? Let's move on to non-locomotor if you don't have any questions with locomotor movement. Are there any questions? None. Okay. Let's move on to the non-locomotor movements. So as I've said a while back, these are the movements wherein you have your body as your base and your pivot, and you move either the arms or any part of the body, but still you stay in place. Okay. There are different types of non-locomotor or axial movement. First is the flexion. It's so easy to understand. When you bend, you curl your legs. That's flexion. When you bend or shorten the body from a joint, that is flexion. But when we say extension, that is to open or twist or to circle. Okay? Then pendular movements. Ito
Kasi nga
yung...
pala kalaking kutsilyo! Kalagi babaon!
Ay, wow. Wait lang. Pwede ba nating... Wait lang, guys. Merong hindi naka-unmute. Ay, ayun, si Emmeline. Hindi naka-mute si Emmeline.
Bakit na
Okay. Meron pa bang maingay, guys? Wala na. Naka-mute na lahat. Okay, moving on. Pendular movement. Pendular is still under non-locomotor. Why? Because we can move our arms or our hips, our butt, our shoulders, swaying or swinging, and it's like hanging as a pendulum. That is why it's called pendular movement. Okay? Next, percussive. Percussive non-locomotor movement is when you strike, you push, you pull, you clap your hand, you tap your knees. Okay, yun yung percussive. Yung movements ng katawan na merong nakikreate na sound. Pushing, pulling, striking, hitting. Or kung hindi paa, kamay. Kung hindi kamay, paa. That's it. Then we also have vibratory non-locomotor movement, that is beating and shaking. Shaking of the shoulders, shaking of the head. Shake. Your hips, your fingers. So that's it. That's your vibratory movement. Then sustained is a slow, smooth, flowing movement. Like for example, ano ba yung mga pwede dyan? When you shift a certain part of your body and but you are not moving. It's completely different with sliding. Then suspended, a sharp movement followed by a series of slow or prolonged movement until it's reaching the peak. Wait, I think I have here. I downloaded, I think, a YouTube example of this one. I'm not sure if I was able to download it. Wait a while. ko naman ata na-download. Wait lang, guys. So far, are there any questions?
None, ma'am.
None, ma'am.
Wait lang. Tingnan natin kung ito yun. Kasi dindownload ko yun. Bakit nawawala naman? Ito natin siya. Nakikita nyo ba sa screen ko? Screen nyo? Guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Kaya, wait lang, lakas. Hindi yata to. Pero pwede din ito. And 5 kasi yung yung in-open ko kanina. Pa-chest watch. Kasi diniscuss nila yung 3 different.
Ma'am, we only see the module, ma'am.
Module lang?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Wait. Mm, right. Wait. Bakit na? Hmm. Wala pa rin?
Wala pa rin, ma'am.
Hmm. Bakit? Hmm. Why? Hmm. Yan, may nakikita na kayo? Guys?
Wala pa din po, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Bakit?
Module, ma'am.
Sayang naman. Nakaisip kasi. Ito na lang. Pwede kaya. Hindi din pwede. Pwede ko bang ilagay sa ano? Hmm. Wala, ayaw naman. Pero try nyo nga itong kung ma-open nyo. Ilagay ko sa ano, yung website. Ala, ayaw naman. Never mind. Ayaw niya. Stop ko na lang. Never mind. Kung ano na lang yung naka-open. Ayaw naman na yung dito. Okay. Pero kung yung module na nakikita nyo, guys,
Yes, ma'am.
hanggang dun lang to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But siguro ano na lang, I'll just forward the link sa GC natin later on para makita nyo din yung talagang demonstrated. So aside from locomotor and non-locomotor, we also have manipulative skills. Ang difference na nito is meron kang hahawakang objects. When you were in elementary, kapag foundation day, kinder usually ito, meron silang manipulative exercises. Yun yung ginagawa ng mga kinder kapag foundation day ng isang school, right? Twice in the easy. Nahawakan lang nila ribbons or ball or yung how do you call the circle one? I forgot. Hula hoop, right? Yun yung ginagamit ng mga kindergarten for their calisthenics or manipulative skills dance. That when they dance. Okay. So these are just movements or skills that will require a person to either show his or her skill playing or holding a hoops on the ball or ribbon. So parang gymnastics. Yun. Okay? Moving on. Let's move on. If you have any questions, if you have no questions, we can move on. Alright, so let's have the basic movements, concepts of movement. Right. So there are 3 factors that affect movement. Krisha, how can psychological factor affect movement? Krisha?
Ma'am?
How can psychological factor affect movement?
Ma'am, by fear, anxiety, and other mental phenomena affect the human movement.
How? Give us a concrete example. How can psychological factor affect the performance of a person?
Ma'am, kunwari ka, ma'am, may problem ka or anxiety, maapektuhan yung performance mo kapag ka, pag kunwari ka, may competition tapos meron kang problem or anxiety, maapektuhan yung performance mo.
Exactly. Very good. I think you have experienced already, if not all of us, most of us have already experienced being depressed or experience an event in our life wherein we are nervous, maybe because someone in the audience is your crush. Duh, diba? So, these psychological factors, we may not like to admit, but it really has a big effect in us. So, when we are going to perform with such fear or nervousness or other mental or psychological problems, it may affect us because, ay, nandun yung crush ko, ayokong magpalabas. Diba? Mga kaartehan natin. Or, psychologically, you are troubled. And depressed ka dahil siguro nag-break kayo ng jowawers mo. O di kaya, kung hindi naman love life yung family life mo, maybe napagalitan ka, meron kang ginawang kabalbalan, o di kaya kung hindi naman ikaw na ang mismong anak ang gumawa ng kabalbalan, yung parents mo nag-aaway, hiwalay or whatever, or something to that effect. This may hinder us to give our full blast performance because we are not totally well. Even if it's just our emotions, it has a big effect on our performance. All right? How about physiological factors? Marvin. Marvin? Marvin. Hello? Marvin. Nawawala. How about Alexandre John? Ba't nawawala din?
Ma'am,
Alexandre, how can physiological factors of a person affect performance or body movement?
ma'am,
Paano kaya? Yes.
for example po is yung pilay or disabled na may polio, ma'am. Tapos
Mhm.
pinapa-perform mo siya na tumalon. Siyempre parang imposible pong magagawa niyo po yun, di ba?
Yeah.
So, same as sa dancing po, pag may disability or hindi kaya ng physical capabilities ng isang tao yung pinapa-perform, kahit
Mhm.
anong gawin po, hindi po niya magagawa yan.
Yeah, okay. Although now there are Paralympics that include activities for such, people who have disabilities like that. Okay. Some may even have a contest na ang sumasayaw ay may mga naka-wheelchair. So, yes, although it affects especially everyone who is not really accustomed to having physiological defect, but it can be mareremedyohan yan. Pero, definitely, meron at merong effect yan sa ating performance. Nasugatan ka nga lang eh. Ay, masakit kasi yung kwan ko, ma'am. Diba? Dami yung mga rason. Mga rason-rason natin. Okay? How about sociological factors? Can we listen to Robelin Aurelius? Robelin? Robelin. Sinong gusto? Kailangan nating matapos itong pangatlo kasi mag-e-end yung call, then I will call for another part 2 for the lesson 2. Kasi 30 minutes lang yung naiset ko dito. Hello? Wala? Janeline? Janeline? Sinong gustong sumagot? Mary Chris? Wala. Mary Chris? Caroline? Wala din. Ano na nga eh. Yes, Alexandra again?
Ma'am, dun po sa sociological factors,
Mhm.
kung hindi tayo comfortable dun sa kasama natin,
Mhm.
medyo awkward yung magiging performance po natin sa sayaw dahil yun nga hindi tayo comfortable na, for example ma'am, in a normal situation, hindi naman po natin masyadong kausap or makabatian yung kasamahan natin. So pag pinag-pair po yung dalawa na hindi magka-comfortable sa isa't isa, magiging magulo lang po.
Right. Actually, kung face-to-face, mararamdaman natin to talaga. Kasi, if I group you, and you are not really comfortable with your group mates, maybe because merong past na experience na away, or possibly yung isa sa kanila ay talagang introvert lang, kasi hindi rason lang ang pagiging introvert. Meron at merong mga tao talaga na masanay silang alone, or hindi talaga sila sanay sa maraming tao. So, if that's their kind of personality, we cannot really question them or so. But, of course, it would really be good if they learn how to associate or to be in a group, right? So, yes, thank you, Alexandra, again. It really has a big effect in our performance. So all those three, I don't know if you have already finished commenting your answers in my question about this one. I hope so. I asked you in our point for discussion, right? This is your PFD2. So choose a factor and explain how it can affect performance or movement. Okay, we have 6 minutes more. let's move on with the movement space. So there are two kinds of space, your personal space and general space. What's the difference between the two? Who'd like to share his or her own idea about the difference between personal and general space? Anyone? Hello? Hello?
Ma'am, ano yun?
Yeah, sure. Who is it? Krisha?
Ma'am?
Would you like to share your thoughts?
Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
Can you explain the difference between personal and general space? Oh, come on. Sinong gusto? Nawala na yung nawala na yung kausap ko. Mary Chris? Robelin? I have 9 participants, pero iilan lang yung magsasalita. Janeline, Janina? Anyone? Hello? Are you still there? Si Alexandre na naman, pwedeng iba rin? Come on. Janeline? Janeline? Sayang na yung oras. Mag-end na tong call. Hindi pa natin natapos yung ano. O sige na si Alexandre na. Siya na lang estudyante ko. Talk.
Ma'am, dun po sa personal space, yung kaya lang natin ma-reach within stationary position, ma'am. Yung mga malalapit lang sa atin na hindi tayo maalis sa pwesto. Doon naman po sa general, yun naman po yung hindi naman po tayo maalis sa venue.
Tama ka dun sa personal space. In general space is your area, the whole area. Your personal space is within the tips of your fingers. That's your own personal space. Your area around you that your tips of fingers is able to reach. That is your personal space. Your general space is, for example, the whole classroom, the ballroom area, the plaza, the swimming pool, the gymnasium, the hall, yun yung general space. Within a general space, you have your own personal space. Kasi sabi ko nga, your own personal space is the area with which the tips of your fingers is able to reach. That's it. Any questions so far?
Ma'am,
Yes. Who is it?
the personal space is for non-locomotor movements and the general space is for locomotor movements, ma'am.
Not necessarily, my dear, because we're talking here about space. We're not talking here anymore of the movements.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay? Okay? Hindi na ito movements. Yung space na. Yung pagkakaiba na ng general space at yung personal space mo. Kapag kasi ang instruction ay stay within your own personal space, then you stay put. Dun ka lang. Okay? Para alam ninyo ang sumunod ng instruction. Na kapag general space, all of you can be there in that area having your own personal space. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Hindi na yung movement ang usapan dito, yung space na. All right. If there are other questions, I'm still open to questions because we have still 1 minute before we end the call and continue with another call for the last topic, the elements of space? Any other question? Okay, I guess there are no more questions. If there are no more questions, then I have to end the call because I have to schedule again the next call for the last topic under lesson 2. Okay? You wait for me. I will share to you the link.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Antayin nyo lang ako ha.
Yes, ma'am.
Huwag kayong aalis.
Yes, ma'am.
O, huwag kayong aalis. Para hindi problema.
Good, ma'am.
Mm-mm. Okay. Ilan na tayo? Sa dalawa? Hala, bakit? Wait. I'll just call their attention. Guys, I'm waiting. Where are they? Wala naman sila. Zoom. Okay. So now let's have the... Wait, pwede ko bang ipaliit ito? Parang hindi masyadong malaki. Ayan. Let's have the elements of space. Kagaya din sa ibang topics. Not only in dances, pati sa arts, meron ding mga elements. Pag sinabing elements, ano yung ingredient para mabuo yung isang sayaw? Okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First is direction, second is level, third is range, fourth is pathways or space designed, and fifth is focus. Direction. What are the different directions that we usually use when we dance? We have forward, backward, sideward, upward, downward, diagonal, and also combinations of this one. So, bakit importante ito? Mas madaling malaman nyo ang mga ito. Kasi when you start dancing and you have a instruction that you want to follow, it would be easy for you to follow the dance. Because usually dance steps will tell you, raise your arms upward, raise your arms sideward, shake or tap, or move forward, move backward, step alternately right and left to your diagonals front, then diagonals sideward to the back or something of that effect. So yon ang direction. Another is your level, your high, medium, middle, or low level. So for example, your dance, the whole dance pattern would tell you, some steps would tell you to just execute a step in a high level or in a medium level or in a low level. So bend low or raise your arms high or on lateral medium, something like that. So yon yung sinasabing level. So merong high, medium, and low. Next, how about sa range? Yun yung sinasabi natin kanina nung pinag-usapan natin sa space, general, and personal space. So, kung within your own personal space lang ba or pwede mong i-navigate yung general space within how many meters or how many steps. Yun yung range na sinasabi. Within how many or how much yung range ng movement na pinapagawa sa'yo doon sa dance pattern na yon. So, that is also important. Are you still with me? Can you follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next
Yes.
is your so we have already finished direction, level, and range. Let's move on to pathways or design. Paano naman to naiiba? The line or design created in space as one moves. Actually, pwede siyang connected dito sa direction, yung pathway. So, kung ano yung na-create mo dito sa direction, yun yung space design mo. Nagigets nyo yun?
Yes, ma'am.
So, oo. If the movement requires you to do a forward and backward alternate steps with your right and left, na forward and then backward, that is your pathway or space design. Ang basic ng space design ay yung direction. Nakuha?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yun yung kumbaga, yun yung unit niya. Unit ng space design ay direction. Okay. Then, of course, the last element is your focus. Importante ba ang focus? Is
Yes, ma'am.
focus important?
Yes, ma'am.
Bakit?
Yes.
Why?
Para magawa mo yung yung mga step or yung mga movement.
Can you further explain? Hindi ko magets yung gusto mong tumbukin. Ano ulit? Ano ulit po yun? Importante kasi ano ba yung focus? It's actually the movement in space in relation to the object or a person's attention of direction. If you are a dancer, if you've already experienced dancing, focus is yung point of focus mo when you are dancing. Diba sasabihin ka na, dito ka titingin, dito ka tatapat. Dito ka titingin, dito ka tatapat. Sasabihin ng dance instructor, right? Bakit importante yon? Importante yon. Why?
Better performance, ma'am.
Bakit better performance? Basing from the definition itself, bakit better performance kung may focus ka? If you use your focus in the dance.
Ma'am, to avoid unnecessary mistakes.
Like what? Like what mistake would you be incurring if you don't follow the
To
element of focus?
be out of the beat, ma'am. For example, moving too early or too late in the given music.
But it's all about direction. It's not about the beat.
It can also be
The
like,
definition of the
ma'am,
focus here is not really connected with the beat. It's actually about our focus to a certain point or a certain direction as we dance. Our relation to a certain point or direction, or our relation to ourselves, to our partner, or to any of the dancers that are performing with you. So how could that give us the benefit not to incur any mistakes? Anyone?
spatial awareness.
Spatial awareness. So, come on. I think you have it. I just need you to bring it out. I need you to tell the class. I think you have the idea, and I want you to bring it out. Come on. I think you know it. You just have a hard time maybe expressing what is in your mind. So if you have spatial awareness, that means what? What will you be able to avoid?
Bumping into others.
Correct! That's it, guys! It's very easy, right? Kung meron tayong focus, magiging mas aware tayo sa itong personal space ko. Andito din yung personal space ng katabi ko, yung kapartner ko, yung nasa harap ko, yung nasa side diagonal ko na right and left. Therefore, we will be able to avoid bumping to each other. And so you can be synchronized as you dance and you move from one step to the other, from one direction to the other, from one place to the other. Clear? Naku, yung aso ko.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are there any questions with our lesson 2? Come on, before we end our lecture today. Sa locomotor, non-locomotors, manipulative skills, and movement, space, and rhythm. Factors?
None.
None? Okay. 1. I give you 5 counts, and then that means wala talaga. It's everything is understood. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I assume everyone understands all that we have discussed today. So for
ma'am.
your activity, I hope that I was able to at least guide you to at least maybe make other, I don't know if every one of you have already, oh,